I just got to say, Villa is just such a great map, of course. In the rolling hills of Tuscany, Italy, just absolutely adore this one. While we're on the topic of Italy, Xenox, who you backing for Euros? Italy or England?
I think I have to go for Italy as my fiance is Italian, so I think
2006, dude. 2006.
Yeah, as an Australian, of course, I'll always remember 2006 and that dive, but it is what it is. We move on, and, well, let's move on to this particular game.
Thanks for asking for my opinion on the match.
I didn't really care to ask.
That's okay.
Do you want... Okay, yeah, go. What's your opinion?
I have no idea. I'll just go England 1-0.
Boring.
I haven't been watching any of the Euros, so I have absolutely no idea. But one thing I do have a clue on, at least I think I do, is Siege. As we jump into the ban phase, Flores and Thatcher take it off. That's going to make attacking really, really fun. /S. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be hell on earth on Villa, clearing utility. It's going to be very, very tricky. Well, my taking off the board does alleviate that pressure a little bit, forcing teams to play the Jaeger to protect said util. Clash to round things off just reduces the frustration factor here a little bit, and doesn't mean that Luna can play the Clash. You can't play it anymore, which is a rip.
I mean, it is a rip, I guess, yeah. 7th Heaven on the defense, Invictus on the attack. Obviously, I had a quick look at the wonderful dev match tracker in regards to 7th Heaven on Villa. We don't see a lot of Villa. Me and you guys, we tend to get it, avoided from us. I don't know why. Maybe it has something to do with the money that slipped to the producers. But, Invictus Gaming, they have played Villa this stage. They defeated Wildcard. It was actually on the opening day. And they had a very solid attack. They had a 4-2 attacking half. So they'll be looking to replicate that here for this particular game.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
Well, Kitchen will be the first site defended here by 7th Heaven, and they're playing heavily into information. They're bringing the Mute Mozzie combo to try and prevent the drones from finding intelligence in towards the site, and I would assume the roam up above. Pika as well, playing the Pulse that will gather a lot of counter information for the defense. He can sit down below in towards the objective and gain really nice intel on the bedroom balcony, down below, outside laundry. I mean, the list is almost endless on this position. Interestingly enough, 7th Heaven also extending over towards the lounge room. They've reinforced off towards the library sort of area. And this is pretty interesting. Now, maybe this means that they have voted Invictus. Maybe they're expecting a horizontal take here. Or maybe they just feel more comfortable extending the map this way as opposed to extending up above.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's always that sort of, do you play your own style or do you strat against your opposition? And as you said, if they've sort of voted Invictus here and maybe expecting a particular play style from them or a push, do you play against that or do you back yourselves in? I think in this case, you probably want to do maybe a bit of both, honestly. You don't want to just allow Invictus to sort of play their own way, but without giving up too much of your own style. Souffle over towards Living. I wouldn't be surprised either to see these two teams pop off early on in these rounds for the entire game. Almost the opposite as to what we saw on Cafe between Q Confirm and Order, where it was pretty slow going in the early rounds. Already we've had an early death. Hysterics has taken off the board. Nice kill there for Pika. Good start for 7th Heaven.
Yeah, really is the C's play style to sort of go a little bit harder early in the rounds compared to some of the other sub-regions or even global regions that we do see in Rainbow Six. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll see a lot of action all the time. Invictus admittedly can be a little bit more structured. That said, do expect Hysterics and Speak Easy to go hard into some of these entries, and unfortunately for Hysterics, it doesn't pay off. In the first round, was shut down quite swiftly. It was Pika getting aggressive over towards Red Stairs, and now he can play his role beautifully. Sit back, gain intel, still has a Nitro in hand as well, and his job is far from over.
Things have just slowed down over the last 30 seconds or so. Pika with the heart sensor looking above. Still has a Nitro cell in the back pocket. He wants to try and get greedy and look for Joe on that sledge above. 1 minute left in the round. Maybe it's that go time. Throws it out, but just perfectly timed from Joe to walk away from that and avoids it completely.
A bomb has been located.
Invictus, not contested up above the extension, remember, was horizontal, giving them free reign to gain lines of sight down below, but with 7th extending outward, it doesn't really mean a whole lot here for Invictus. Sure, they can cut off rotations, they can force players off-site, but if there's no one really there in the first place, they're not really going to do a whole lot. As I say that though, Spirited is taken down on the vert. It's a good pick back for Invictus, who with 30 seconds to go need to shape up for an execute, and I would assume that Laundry might be the play, or they might just jump straight into Closet.
20 seconds left into this opening round. It's a little bit of hectic start,
no,
but then
this is
has
gonna be
slowed
bad.
down. Flash is going in. Pika looks into the corner for a split second. Oh, they completely avoided him. Now he can just swing out and get the second one as well. Took a little bit of time, but he gets it. He's got 3 for the round. 7th Heaven with a 3 versus 1. They do not capitulate. They hold out strong. They get the opening round.
What around there from Pika, a huge opener, and then finds himself in a cheeky position to cut those players off inside of the pantry. Really well played there, and really well disciplined. If he had a shot above there when he saw the feet of the player on the vert, it could well have cost him his life and potentially his team the round. So no doubt he is the star player of that first round. Unfortunately for Invictus, struggling a little bit there to capitalize on the vert that they had established, clearly lacking some pretty vital intel in towards the site, just assuming it was clear, and unfortunately for them, not the best of starts.
Fortunately, though, it's only the opening round, guys. If we think back to their last matchup, Order had that really awesome opening round, and we thought, oh, here we go. And, well, they only picked up 2 more for the rest of that map. So that's how that kind of went from there. For 7th Heaven, they'll be hoping that doesn't translate over to this particular game, which I don't think it will. I mean, it could happen. I just think that that was a very clean round from 7th Heaven. Played it pretty well. Got that opening pick, and from there, they were able to really capitalize as they move over to AVG for this second round.
5 seconds left.
With the mirror on the board, it's only going to amplify the difficulty curve here for the attack. Once you've cleared all the utility around the site, without a Thatcher and a Flores, then you're going to be facing black mirrors, and actually entering in towards the objective will no doubt be a challenge. So that does, I guess, lower the pass mark here, potentially for Invictus, maybe just trying to scathe a round or 2, but nonetheless, they need to tidy up on the basics. Last round, a simple lack of intel really did dislodge their attack. It's a good start here, though. Souffle, lit up by the Vulcan and Shield, popped from a grenade down below by Hysterics. And it's little things like that that Invictus need to get right and continue to mount the pressure onto the defense.
Especially on the attack, you want to be aggressive, you want to find these opening picks, and as you said, put that pressure onto 7th Heaven and try and take away their ability to get in your face and look to make things happen. I think right now they'd love to take Pika off the board, off the back of that quad to open up the match, which is, you want the fun fact, guys? Jack Daddy had a quad as well to start the game for Order in their first round win, so maybe not so good signs for 7th Heaven. Luna just down below. Still a minute 48 on the clock. Still a lot of time here for Invictus.
Souffle expending these smoke canisters quite early, but Spirited with a pre-written Nitro cell ready and waiting behind him in support will throw it out, but it's a little bit too early. It's now a 3-stack over towards the main stairs. Souffle going to be under the pump, but with the FMG, he does find 1. It's a decent trade. Spirited forced back. Not a bad result there for either team. Really, I'd say that's a fair trade. And we still have half the round to go.
I think for Invictus, they probably are happier than 7th Heaven, because now they've got that position at the top of main stairs. They can now start to push onto site. They can be aggressive, find these picks, and they've still got a minute and 10 seconds as well. But this could be the factor down below. Cyan, though, just says hello onto Jordan, gets that diffuser down. This changes the round. Edie, though, will fall, but there's a trade. Spirited with a quick double. He's got 3 for the round as well. And 7th Heaven find themselves in a 3 versus 1, looking to take the opening 2 rounds here on Villa.
What can Joe do? He does find 1. Cyan, who dropped the diffuser earlier, taken down, and he'll have no further impact this round. Joe takes site control, but without the diffuser in hand, this will be very, very challenging. 7th Heaven can try to play time, try and play passive. Joe cooks the nade, but he gets taken down in the process. Spirited to clean things up.
Man, Spirited holding behind the bar really well and not giving up his position easily. Held his ground. They had the numbers. They had the time. He didn't have to do anything too crazy. And a nice 2-0 start for 7th Heaven. As they take the opening 2 rounds, they now head over to Stat Trophy, look to do a bit of a world tour against IG, who, you know, are fresh off the back of that 7-1 victory against Q Confirmed. They're having a great stage. They're currently in 3rd place. This is the 8th place team, guys. This is APAC South, though. Whether you're last, whether you're first, anyone can beat anyone.
Definitely some worrying signs early on here for Invictus. That last round in particular was another strong start, like it was in the first round. They had a decent trade over towards ground stairs or the main stairs, and, you know, they were sitting pretty happy. 4v4, they could start to manipulate side if they wanted to, but then the fatal mistake over towards the pots. Cyan drops the kit, and that's basically round over. 7th Heaven are capitalizing upon all of these opportunities that are being presented to them. They're not faltering at all. They looked cool, calm, and collected after that diffuser was dropped. A simple mistake from Invictus costs them the round. It's been a couple of mistakes so far that has been costing them rounds, and I mean, it's little things that add up. Again, especially with these attacks being so difficult with the Flores and the Clash, pardon me, with the Flores and the Thatcher taken off the board, you cannot be affording small mistakes like that.
Again, though, it is only the first 2 rounds. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here. You know, this could end up being a sort of very defensive game between these 2 teams on Villa. So we don't have all of the information yet to sort of dissect this entirely. Just sort of following along as we go, but it is a good start for 7th Heaven. You can't disparage a team for starting well and playing well, and they've looked good in these rounds. Like, this hasn't come down to sort of any 1v1s. It hasn't come down to any silly moments. We haven't seen any team kills or big throws. We're just seeing 7th Heaven being on the front foot, looking to find picks early, holding their positions, and not giving Invictus really much to go with. And that just puts the pressure and the onus on Invictus Gaming to make something happen.
I'm liking this from Invictus. Some pretty classic entry droning here from the attack. Speak Easy heading it alongside Joe, who does get effort a little bit with damage. Not exactly sure how that happened, but either way, a little bit low now for the rest of the round. Of course, these attackers down below could do some damage. Joe has 2 frag grenades. Speak Easy as well with his launcher could clear utility as well, such as the deployable shield that was placed down by Spirited. Not sure exactly where it is located. In fact, he's just picked it back up. But if he places it where he's standing right now, that could be pretty easily taken down below. Souffle, meanwhile, he is a player to watch. Hasn't had an impact in terms of the frag department just yet, but he is setting up very nicely for a flank.
Big Easy just trying to clear those Electro Claws and get this wall opened up. Oh, missed it. Oh, gets that one.
Could shoot him, yeah. Lucky.
Still a minute left on the clock, so I mean, not the worst in terms of time, but you mentioned before, Souffle, that's going to be a factor late in this round if they don't.
Oh, he's on the move. Oh, edge jab!
Oh, the edge jab, yeah, and that's going to give away his position. Speak Easy wanted to capitalize, but at least this just forces Souffle on the roam, makes it a 5v4 temporarily.
I like that from both teams, really. Invictus selecting not to chase 7th Heaven. Still wasting time. Now, Souffle, the call, of course, going out, and he should be cut off here by the attack. But with 40 seconds to go, Invictus need to start thinking about the site. Cyan over towards Red Stairs, being protected by ADS devices, is shot from down below. It's a good pinch here from Invictus. 7th, forced to get aggressive, but Pika on the other side of the map is left in the 1v4. Shoots out some shots over towards the benches. Both players taking a hit as Jordan tries to stick the kit.
Pika hasn't died yet, 4-0 and 0 in the first 2 rounds, but he will fall to the nade of Hysterics. And in the end, the attack of IG comes to the forefront in that particular round. It was not quite maybe what we expect from C's versus C's, guys. That was a little bit more of an OCE sort of battle where it just came down to the last 20 seconds. IG push in, they clear out. They had a 4 versus 1 advantage towards the end. And yeah, interesting round. And I think it all sort of kicked off as soon as Souffle went into that air jab.
Yeah, I like the first 2 rounds. Once again, Invictus did a great job establishing early map control. The difference was, unlike the first 2 rounds, they were able to actually convert that into something meaningful. They didn't get sucked in too much to Souffle on the roam. Instead, played it out a little bit more naturally and cut him off later in towards the round. And with, who was it? Cyan, I think, over towards the red stairs as well.
Yep.
That left it in a 5v3 on site. And Invictus did a really good job in cutting those remaining players out. Got that plant down. and it was very clean in the end. So a stark contrast to from the first 2 rounds, and Invictus giving us an insight that they are the real deal. When they need to, and when everything falls their way, they are capable of producing some really good siege.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't think we doubted for any moment that suddenly 2 rounds in, oh no, Invictus, this guy is falling. That was much better than their opening 2 rounds, goes without saying. And as you said, I think, you know, Cyan getting eliminated there by Hysterics, that basically saves one player. Suddenly, then the whole match just unravels pretty quickly. And I think the good news there for 7th Heaven is I don't think systematically they did too much wrong. So they come back over towards Stat Trophy, and it's like, okay, let's do this again. This time, Souffle, though, don't go into that air jab, and this time, don't do this. And you just try and tweak a few things, and I think the way that 7th Heaven were set up, they were doing all right. There wasn't that much time left for Invictus. They just happened to hit their shots once they started to push in.
Well, it is the same objective here for 7th Heaven. Pika aggressive in Master Bedroom, and Souffle, again, is committing to the roam, so needs to be careful of Luna's air jabs, considering how effective they were in the previous round. Joe, again, entering from Laundry. That's the same pathing from the previous round. No one from 7th directly contesting that, so he'll be pretty safe. Speakeasy as well will hold his hand and ensure that control is established. Now, there might be some vertical that has been prepared here by the defense that both Joe and Speakeasy need to be mindful of. ED will be that player peeking back down if required, but Speakeasy uncontested might be able to clear these Electro Claws. Pika, though, does get the first. It's Speakeasy to try and trade back, but Pika with the pistol finds 2 to kick off the round for 7th Heaven.
Yeah, big game from Pika so far. Not a surprise, one of the good players. Well, there's actually quite a lot of good players on the 7th Heaven roster. That's what makes them usually very formidable and why they had such a strong stage 1. As a team, they're quite evenly spread. You don't really think of anyone as being the superstar. It's probably Souffle here for stage 2. But outside of that, you can pretty much count on any of their players to get the job done when it matters. In this case, in this match, it's Pika, 6-1, having an absolute barn burner, and 7th Heaven with a 2-man advantage. We'll see whether or not they can capitalize and take out this round, and a 3-1 start on Villa would be pretty good.
Oh, Hysterics. He's alive. Just don't know what is possible. Now, it was an unfortunate start there for Speakeasy, one of the best players in the region, unable to hit that trade back. Did land his team in this 3v5 scenario, but fortunately, as I mentioned, Hysterics still up and about. On the Yana, still 2 frag grenades available, as well as a drone. His impact has been felt somewhat, at least onto Spirited, but his job not done yet. Good air jab there from Luna will cut off Pika, who is playing down below. If he tries to take the Astronomy stairs, he will no doubt be cut off. That leaves it, I guess, effectively 3v3 on site. Oh no, Pika still finds the pick. He does eventually hit the air jab. Hysterics trades it back, but I think the damage has already been done. It's already too far gone here for Invictus.
Yeah, and the time is dwindling. There's just over 20 seconds left. Edie with a good position. Really tears up. Hysterics. Cyan will swing. He'll pick up the kill. Nice little peek back from Jordan. And Cyan is down, so it's a 1 versus 2. Time is of the essence, but does have to defuse it. But obviously by himself, not going to be able to really stick it and plant it and have himself be covered. So pushes in, tries to make something happen. Doesn't quite. And a really good round for 7th Heaven, who are looking the goods here on Villa.
Gotta say, that was a really valiant attempt there in the 1v2. That flashbang really had the chance, if it bounced correctly, to flash both of those players stacked together inside a trophy, and that would have been one hell of a clutch, but not meant to be. Well played in the end by 7th Heaven, and again, another huge performance from Pika. Round 1, he got the quad. Round 4, just gone. 2 incredibly important kills down below, read perfectly in to that combo of Joe and Speakeasy taking below, clearing the Electro Claws, and unfortunately for Invictus, they didn't trade it out, and they were on the back foot for the entirety of that round. Crawling it back was always going to be very, very tricky. The odds were against them, and 7th do a good job in closing it out.
And it really feels like right now that it's 7th Heaven who are playing up to the level of Invictus Gaming, rather than Invictus Gaming, say, maybe playing a bad game right now. They've been in these rounds. They've had moments. They've looked good. Their attacks haven't really been that unfruitful. They've had 1 attacking round win. Still 2 more rounds in this half, and they can still easily tie it up 3-3. But it's just full credits to 7th Heaven. They, honestly, in this first half, this might be the best first half I've seen from them for this entire stage since the opening day, where they beat Order, which was their only win of the stage so far.
5 seconds left before insertion. Attackers are moving out to locate.
Wouldn't it be massive 7th Heaven to get 3 points in this matchup? And oh, I know we keep saying it, but it would make APAC South even tighter if it couldn't already be close enough. It's just absolutely crazy to think and say out loud, but always got to take it one step at a time, and Villa can be pretty wild. And with those bans, again, going to be heavily favoring, we're anticipating, the defense. So Invictus is looking to post a couple of rounds and have a glimpse of brilliance. They could well take a second here in round 5. Pika, though, he's alive. 7-2, probing over towards airlock. Doesn't quite find the pick there on the window. If he did, it would have been another good start for 7th, but not meant to be.
Yeah, this is where things could really get out of hand now. 7th Heaven really pull away at the end of this first half, and whether they get out to a 4-2 or 5-1 sort of lead, that makes it difficult for IG to bring it back. They are a team that's, you know, been in these sort of predicaments before. They've got the experience, they've got the fortitude within themselves, and to know that this is by no means down and out territory. They're third in APAC South, 8 points. If 7th Heaven win this game, though, in regulation, they go up to 7 points, guys. And well, the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, it feels like, will still be very, very difficult to predict.
Sure will be, and predicting how this round will play out is proving to be a challenge as well. Cyan on the flank, if he goes big, could well win the round for 7th Heaven. We just don't know exactly what flank watch is established here by Invictus. Presumably there's an air jab over towards the Astro stairs, which will make this very tricky. Cyan makes his way up. Air jab is in position. I reckon he could shoot it, honestly. If he can hear it, he probably knows it's there. Could swing wide, find that air jab, and then do some damage. We'll have to wait and see.
Invictus Gaming really taking their time here with this attack. Towards the late end of this 5th round, 40 seconds left. Still not a lot of movement, still a lot of nades available. Only 3 drones up, so not a lot of information towards the final second. Cyan, though, will be the first death. Opening kill goes to Hysterics, makes it a 5 versus 4 with 25 seconds left.
That makes things really difficult now for 7th Heaven, who are relying on their utility, staying up. Invictus trying to clear it, but not much time left.
It certainly isn't. Luna's down, though, and now out for the count, courtesy of Pika. Souffle with a cheeky little angle finds the kill onto Jordan. Might just get a second one here. The swing is successful from Hysterics, but Pika, yet another kill. Yet one more for the tally. Might be even more to come. He gets stopped eventually, but it's 7th Heaven who went out in the end. What a chaotic round. 4-1, though, is the scoreline for 7th Heaven.
And Pika goes big once again. A huge performance from 7th Heaven. They hold on in the final seconds of that round. I thought that maybe Invictus would be able to catapult some momentum off the back of Cyan, clear utility and get the job done, but there was just too much standing at the very end there. That Black Mirror in a little bit of an unorthodox position catches the attack off guard, and it's just shaping up to just be such a close matchup. Invictus, if they bring it back to a 2-4, well, they'll be laughing. They'll be pretty happy considering the bans, but 7th Heaven could try and extend this lead. And oh, yeah, look, it's a shame we have a bit of a rehost because we're really starting to get into that one. But hey, things happen and we've got to put up with it. Gives both of these teams, I think, an opportunity to take a bit of a breath because this has been a high-intensity matchup. There has not been really much of a break outside of the selection phase. A lot of these action phases, there has been a lot going on early round, a lot of pressure being applied from 7th, Invictus taking really quick map control, and that's got to be tiring for the players, so I guess they have earned this break.
I feel like someone behind the scenes said, oh, we're going to be finished before 10. I don't know who it is. I think it might have been, I'm going to say Raven. I feel like Raven's the sort of guy to be like, oh, this is going pretty quick. We might be done before 10. Look, 4-1 though. I don't think either of us expected that sort of start from 7th Heaven. And it's also in the manner that they've been able to do it here on Villa, right? They've looked really in control. There hasn't been too many times where they've looked flustered by the attack of Invictus Gaming, except for maybe that one particular round. Outside of that, they've been very clean. They're playing their own game. They're looking very strong defensively. The question is, though, of course, we've still got one more round to go in this half. Will the same thing happen when Invictus Gaming go on their defense, Gus, right? Are they going to be able to replicate this and then maybe send it to OT?
Yeah, I feel like a little bit of a broken record at this stage, but I mean, now's the opportunity to say it again. With Thatcher and Flores banned out, I don't think it can be understated just how tricky that makes the attack. I mean, you are fully reliant on explosives to clear every single piece of utility. That means you're forced into bringing nades on the Yana, for example, and or the Sledge. Then you have to bring the Zofia. I mean, Zofia is basically an insta-lock at the moment anyway. It does limit and narrow your options a little bit, and it really does emphasize your ability to manage time. That last round, a really good example. Sure, they cut off Cyan on the rotate, but I think it was about, what, 20 to 30 seconds remaining. There was still a lot of utility standing. And sure, the attack had their utility to clear it, but it's a matter of being able to actually clear that in time. You still, you know, got opponents shooting at you. There's a lot going on. Comms get cluttered, and it really can break apart the round in the end. So I do anticipate 7th Heaven on their attacks in a couple of rounds to face similar issues. It's not going to be easy from them. Even if they 5-1 this half, very, very real opportunity that Invictus dig deep on their defense. I think that this map is really going to go the distance. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an overtime. And again, a lot of that is off the back of these attacker bans, making life really, really challenging.
Yeah, and I think for Invictus, if they can get this 6th round, if they can somehow make it a 2-4 half, it really puts them in good stead going into the second half and sort of buys into the narrative that you're trying to set there, guys, where, you know, attack's not going to be easy. If they can now get a second round, there's a chance they can bring this game back pretty comfortably, even maybe in the second half, for a team that's having a very good stage off the back of what was a very poor stage 1. They've, of course, rebounded here in stage 2. If they can somehow pull this back, somehow, even 2 points. This is the thing. We're probably at that point in the stage, guys, where I think even 2 points for Invictus, right, and the incentive to get this to overtime is still a lot. That would put them on 10 points. That would put them outright into second place and just gives them a little bit of a buffer in that top 4. So there's a lot to fight back for and to claw this game back.
Yeah, would be a nice safety net for them, but even nicer than that, of course, I mean, it goes without saying, would be the 3 points, and that's very much still within grasp. I do think taking this next round, though, will significantly boost their chances and
5 seconds left.
propel some momentum into that second half. And look, they'll be playing it 1 round at a time. Invictus, look at the names. Everyone outside of Joe has extensive experience. I mean, maybe Jordan not as much, but still has a lot of experience nonetheless in the broader scheme of things. But when you look at the likes of Hysteric, Speakeasy, Luna, these guys know what they're doing. They have been in these positions countless times. Countless times they have been on the back foot, but they'll be just having a measured approach towards this matchup. They know the bans are really tricky. They know that attacking is going to be hard. Just dig deep, maintain that mental, and just chill out. See what you can get done. If it doesn't quite fall your way here on the attack, again, there's such a wide window to bring it back on the defense.
Well, it's a very early Nitrocell. Very early Nitrocell indeed. And you say, and we've been obviously discussing, you know, Invictus Gaming and their ability to maybe bring this back on the defense. I think I would happily go out on a limb and say maybe 5-1 makes it too difficult. 7th Heaven is definitely capable of finding more than 2 attacking rounds. Nice opening pick, though, from Speakeasy. The superstar player for Invictus Gaming, now 5-4. Has been thereabouts, has been impactful. Maybe not to the degree of Pika, who's 10-3, but still playing his role.
Halfway into the round, and the second Nitro cell will be dispersed here by 7th Heaven. Not quite detonated. Pika lurking down below, feeding that intel back towards Spirited so that they can detonate it at the right time. Joe from above, via that Banshee, the range extending far enough for it to open up like a flower. You can pop it open for free. Could also pop ahead from down below, but doesn't quite hit the shots. Instead, scathing those middle bars. Pika, elsewhere though, does find one. The man of the hour for 7th Heaven once again pops his head up to find a kill and keep his team in this round.
Still a minute left, and there goes Invictus Gaming here on the attack, finding the picks that they need to break apart the defense of 7th Heaven. But Pika is still in the server. And when that's the case, you do not count out 7th Heaven. Even down 2-4, there's only 40 seconds left in the round. So at some point, they are going to have to push on to Pika and see whether or not he's up for the task. I think he very well could be. Souffle with a bit of information. This is pretty vital. If he can get this kill, makes it a 2 versus 3. That's a lot more doable.
They have pings in towards site here, 7th Heaven, so they have intel that they can play off. But with only 20 seconds to go, they're going to be forced to try and deny the plant. But Hysterics is ready and waiting. Now Pika is left in the 1v4. He's played very well so far, but there's nothing he can do. Speak Easy from up above will close out the round for Invictus, and it's a 4-2 half.
Very well played from Invictus in that final round. That was pretty much as clean as you can ask for in a non-flawless round. 2-4, good half overall for 7th Heaven, and yet I think for Invictus they'll happily take 2 to close out. And this is where we can now start to get some answers, guys. As we switch half, we go into the second half. Invictus will go on the defense, 7th Heaven will go on the attack, and now we can sort of pose some answers to these questions. Is, you know, the attack too difficult here on Villa based off these bans? You know, no Thatcher available. No Flores to clear that utility. Is it too much? Does it make it too difficult to break down these defenses? Or was it simply just a stalwart defensive half from 7th Heaven, and maybe now they can go on the attack and break down IG? So it's definitely going to be a very fascinating second half to watch unfold.
Well, what I will say is we're already seeing some really deep thinking operator selections here from both teams, right? So Invictus, they're playing heavily into utility, right? You have the shield from Jordan, you have the 2 cameras from Joe, the Sawyer gates that need to be burnt protecting said utility. You also have the 2 Vulcan shields from Lunar, the ADS. I mean, all of it culminates into being really difficult to clear with just projectiles. Now, 7th, reading into this being really tricky, have brought the Twitch. Now, Twitch has slightly increased in popularity in the current meta. The F2 is really strong. Those shock drones, when they can sneak in towards site, can do a lot of damage, right? So Pika, again, still going to be the player to watch. Maybe not as much just for straight fragging on this attacking half, but also his ability to clear out utility and assist with that clear, because that's not what we saw from Invictus. They were playing the Nomad, not the Nomad, rather, they were playing the Sledge, bringing a couple of nades as well as that verticality to clear utility, but that approach not being taken here by 7.
They did also play the Nomad as well.
I know they did. I just got my operators wrong because I'm a noob.
That's okay. Hey, we're all learning together, you know? You, me, Manic, we're all
Especially
noobs.
Manic.
Especially Manic.
Well, and you're learning the map.
I'm having a great time doing it as well. Nice shots onto Pika, who's been the star and standout player for 7th Heaven. He's now onto the attack, though. Now onto the Twitch. This is where you kind of expect Speak Easy to just continue on with a bit of a roll. Had a slow first half until that final round, and well, now 7-4-2 and looking pretty good. Pika, though, just continues. Whether it's on the attack or the defense, it doesn't matter. For Pika, 13-4. 2-man advantage for 7th Heaven, and they've already cracked this IG defense.
Why did I do it? I said that Pika was not going to be the man to watch just for straight frags like it was in the first half. But there we go. It's another 2K, another multi-kill for him in this matchup, just tearing Invictus to shreds. And this could be such a huge round for 7th Heaven to be able to get this on the board. Having 2 players like that drop so early into the round makes things incredibly difficult. Now, fortunately for Invictus, that utility already established by Hysterics with the Sawyer gates, Luna with the Vulcan shields, but just lacking that manpower late round is going to be very, very difficult to come back from.
Not impossible, though. Especially with Speak Easy still available. Alive and kicking in well. Does lose his shield, though. And there is still a minute left on the clock. That's a lot of time here for the 3 remaining defensive players. So much running through their minds in the way that 7th Heaven are going to eventually push on and attack the site here as AVG's still getting fortified late into the round.
Speak Easy still in a powerful position over towards Study. A long line of sight down towards Model, and he can inflict some shots. But now he is stranded, prone in towards the site. 7th Heaven should be able to claim this kill. Speak Easy is in a terrible position, but maybe he can still find some picks. No, will miss those shots. Pops up, finds one. Doesn't get the second, though. Jordan and Joe need to hold on.
Well, they're going to be careful here because they're both standing so close to each other. Joe, though, trying to fall back into the vault, and he unfortunately loses his life. Jordan, solo, last player alive. Now the Gas Babe goes out, takes a hit. He probably doesn't even know where that's from. There's just players everywhere, surrounded. What an attacking round for 7th Heaven, and honestly, guys, a bit of a statement round as well, that it's not all about their defense. They can do it on both sides of the coin. And they have taken a very significant lead, 5-2, 2 rounds away.
Well, there might be a lot of utility to deal with, but if you can find a couple of early picks, like I mentioned, that ability to overwhelm the site with the sheer manpower at the end was what won 7th Heaven the round. There were just too many angles. I mean, it's simple enough to say, and I know it's not the deepest of analysis, but there was literally just too many angles at the end there for Invictus to take care of. And it's physically impossible for them to win that round, provided 7th Heaven cut off those players correctly. They did. They get the round. It's a really big confidence booster now for them on this attack. I will say, though, that they haven't necessarily been tested in that more traditional 5-on-5 with utilities still standing. That is going to be the real test, but maybe we don't even have to get to that point, right? If you can have a player get a couple of opening picks in each of these attacks, maybe you don't even have to worry about that.
Well, it just makes this a bit more of a longer journey back for Invictus Gaming, less room for mistakes. You know, they can't be slipping up. Bit of a sound bug here, as we saw, and they are just taking a bit of their time to get themselves sorted. I guess maybe good timing for Invictus, if I'm going to be completely honest, guys, because they could probably do with a bit of a technical timeout here to also maybe go over some things, because 7th Heaven looking pretty good here. They got them on the ropes, and it would be a big result for 7th Heaven. You know, in the earlier matchup tonight, we had the Chiefs and their victory, and beforehand we were talking about how it was that sort of must-win, keep your season alive. Well, 7th Heaven's in the same boat, but they're going up against Invictus Gaming, who obviously are in some hot form, and honestly, 7th Heaven looked like the team in third.
Yeah, again, it's just so wild that this league teams can just continue to produce results. It is not top-heavy by any respects. Invictus, despite being one of the best teams in APAC last year, still finding their feet here in Stage 2 of 2021, keeping in mind that Invictus' Stage 1 was pretty disappointing. They're looking to bounce back, but 7th Heaven, as you mentioned, putting up such a good fight. Now, the job, again, very far from done. I want to reiterate that the attacking bans, again, are going to make this so challenging. And winning one round is almost like winning two with these bans. You need to just continue to fight really hard. Now, like I mentioned as well, if Pika can keep finding a couple of entries, well, hey, that makes everyone's life easier. But I don't see that being a consistent strategy going forward. Invictus should be tightening up a little bit offsite and not having that issue. I would hope, right? They are the third place team.
Well, you've doubted Pika once. Don't doubt him again. He's not going to let you down. Good start in the second half for 7th Heaven.
Is he going to give me up?
He'll definitely give you up if you keep doubting him. And
will he turn around and desert me?
I'm surprised you're even old enough to know that, guys, not going to lie.
That is very fair. I think that song probably came out about 50 years before I was born.
Oh, I don't know about that. Not like, I think it's more like 20 or so, but anyway.
You reckon that song came out in 2001? Surely it was like 40 years ago, right?
I thought you said before you were born.
True. That was the year 2000. That's when the world got a whole lot better.
Did it, though?
I think so.
I don't think so. Anyway, Invictus Gaming, they need to get a whole lot better here. Nice little segue there to get back into this game and away from Guz's nonsense. They need a round win. Simple as that. Luna, by the way, 0-6. Haven't really sort of touched on that. Unfortunately, Jordan also 2-5. It hasn't really just been that great of an effort from Invictus Gaming so far here on Villa. And 7th Heaven have really put them to the sword. And by 7th Heaven, I mean Pika.
Invictus, though, not backing down. Getting a little bit aggressive here is Hysterics. He's on the laundry hatch. Much like Invictus, 7th Heaven will take control of Kitchen very early here with the Zofia that allows them to clear utility from below. In this case, it will be the mute jammers from Hysterics likely being used to deny the wall from being opened. No Kaid being deployed here by Invictus like their counterparts. That would, I guess, arguably make things a little bit faster here for 7th. But they still need to be mindful of Invictus, who could try and catch them off on the roam.
And I very much would like to see 7th Heaven continue to just be aggressive here in their playstyle. That's what's been working for them, both on the defense and even in the opening round on the attack. If you've just tuned in, or maybe only caught the last couple of rounds, it was a 4-2 opening half to 7th Heaven. Of course, they were on the defense. Nitrocell from Hysterics is perfectly placed. He's got the double. Sheesh, indeed. They are looking for the trade, and they are successful. 2-for-1 still in favor of Invictus, but at least 7th Heaven were able to get the one back.
Yeah, a decent trade back there for 7th. Does make this round at least somewhat obtainable now. When with Pika on the board, hey, who knows what this man could pull off once again.
No hard bridge, though.
Yeah, no hard bridge. Clock is ticking as well. Pika needs to go big on the solo. Souffle, though, does find one. Traded back by Luna. And there we go. Pika finds one. Completely catching off guard. Sees the gun of Luna and finds the pick. It's Joe in the 1v2.
Never doubt this man, Guz. You said, nah, it's not going to happen again, but it is. 16-4. Fortunately, he's had a bit of help as well from some of his friends. And Joe, who's 3-6 on the Jaeger, is just looking a little bit nervous. He's got too many angles that he has to keep track of for a solo play, and there's still so much time. He gets thrown out back now through Astro, expecting to push the nade. Just force his position back over to Stat, and AD will finish it off. Match point, 7th Heaven.
Well, if you want to stamp your authority, this is the time to do it. Send a message to the rest of the league that you are not staying down the bottom of the standings. If 7th win this round, or one of the next 3, they will propel themselves from the bottom of the standings on 4 points all the way up to equal 4th with the Knights and Wildcard on 7.
You know, I just got to say, just so everyone knows, I did actually originally predict 7th Heaven, simply memes, right? Because obviously Raven chose Invictus, so I was like, oh, well, I'm going to pick against Raven. I'm going to go 7th Heaven. But I doubted, guys. I second-guessed it, and I thought, oh, Invictus are looking good. They're having a great stage. This should be a must-win. 7th Heaven are bottom 2. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I thought, surely Raven will get this one right. And it hasn't happened. I should have stuck to my gut feeling. I should have predicted against Raven. I've learnt my lesson, though, Guz. And I will make sure for next week the same mistakes will not be repeated.
Well, that's good to hear. And talking about mistakes, Invictus looking to try and right some of their wrongs. They have, unfortunately, looked a little bit sloppy here and there. I mean, honestly, they're not playing terrible Siege. It's just these small mistakes are really catching up to them. It was that last round. Players getting caught off guard. No intel there over towards 90, costing them. We saw them earlier on their attacks, lacking some intel in towards site, and that proved costly. And it's starting to really compound. 7th Heaven capitalizing, putting themselves in powerful positions and playing confidently. Pika, he had no right to just walk through 90 there and find a kill. But he was like, boys, I'm feeling hot. I'm going to back myself. And he pulls it off. And confidence in Siege goes a long, long way. 7th Heaven, time and time again, they continue to prove us wrong. They continue to prove the league wrong, that they deserve a spot here in APAC South.
Can they close it out, though? 6-2. They know all about what comebacks are like. When they brought it back from a 6-0 deficit in Stage 1 against the Knights. They know that it is definitely possible. It's feasible. Invictus Gaming more than capable of bringing it back from a 6-2 deficit. Unlikely, though, if we're going to get honest here. And it would be a big comeback if they can do it, but it has to start now. Speakeasy would have to be the man to continue to lead the way, but he's been doing his job. So has Hysterics. Jeez. Tongue twisted there for a second. And the thing is, I mean, for Pika, 16-4, a lot of it has actually been off his own work, though, Guz. And we saw it at the back end of that last round.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous. He has been putting in some hard yards in this matchup and capitalizing upon every opportunity that he sees. His game sense and his intuition has been paying off, and it has been very, very costly for Invictus. Now, in this round, he hasn't had a huge explosive impact yet. 7th Heaven gaining slow map control over towards the northern side. And now faced with all of this utility, Speakeasy should have gotten a kill there. Nonetheless, though, keeps his life, can fall back. Deployable shield gets dropped and he holds down the line. Will eventually retreat that smoke canister, forcing the attack to second guess a rush in. But with 50 seconds to go, they need to commit to this rotate. It looks like everyone from 7th will rotate over towards Study. And this is setting up to be a very, very chaotic 5v5. Close out the round and potentially for 7th close out the map.
Yeah, and 7th Heaven have been very calculated with their attacks, so this is not maybe some last-second rotation. This could be pre-planned. It is now 1-for-1 trade. Souffle pushing up main stairs. He's able to get a lot of damage onto Jordan. There's not much time remaining. Joe finds a very crucial pick. They've got this hallway control. Jordan now has to fall back over the bar. Speakeasy still inside of Aviator. 15 seconds left on the clock. As you said, chaos is going to be happening very much towards these final 10 seconds. Spirited shows up. There's no peek at a save today here for 7th Heaven, but they don't even need him. They've got only one more player to deal with, and they've done it. They've gone big when it matters most. 7-2. They are here to play for stage 2.
And just like that, 7th Heaven jumped from the bottom of the standings to potentially making the playoffs. They are now equal 4th. Absolutely ridiculous here in APAC South, and a valiant performance from 7th. A 7-2 victory. It was decisive. Decisive here from 7th Heaven. They looked like the better team on the day. No doubt about it.
7-2 off the back of Invictus just 48 hours ago, winning 7-1 against table leaders Q Confirm.